We should dox Brandon.
No, I actually don't. Okay. Even though I feel bad because I'd be out here sending your address to everybody. Like, that's why I'm like, maybe I should be more particular about the people we have on the show and how close they are. Because I'm like, we're bringing them to Brandon's house.
That's true.
So it's like, oh, thanks, second cousin that I only met once. We're going to be at this house. And it's like, it's not a building, a commercial estate. Yeah. It's somebody's actual house. And so I always feel weird too, like when I bring like my cousins in, because either they're going to meet your parents for the first time as they're walking in and they're like, is Maddie here? Or they're going to meet me. Or they're going to meet me and I'm like, why am I welcoming you into a home that's not mine? I mean, your parents are really gracious about it, but still, I always feel weird whenever I have to do it. I didn't think about it
because I want my friend to be on the podcast, but yeah, he would have to come here.
Josh?
Well, I want Josh, but Josh couldn't do it. But
next time he comes in, shout out Josh.
But my friend Maurice, I'm like, I think he'd be good on here.
I will say, I mean, it's not necessarily my place to give out because I live here, but like I don't own it. But I'm like, I mean, we get random people all the time, especially like during grad parties and like.
Oh yeah.
Like there was someone that was at my sister's grad party, and I was like,
everyone's like, who is that?
Yeah, I was like, who is that? Like, that's a grown woman. Like, I was like, I've never seen this person in my life. So I don't know. I think it's just how our family rolls. So.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Comfortable Podcast.
Before we say who we are.
I'm Maddie, and I'm here with
Sam.
Brandon.
And I guess we're getting right into our first story.
We have to.
So.
We shouldn't even introduce ourselves at that point.
Am I the asshole for giving my late husband's estate to a stranger instead of our kids?
Game is game.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to
Money.
do it, but it's kind of, I think it's a little messed up.
Yeah,
But some people's kids.
That's childish.
Some people's kids suck.
And they're like, I think my kids suck.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I'm not going to give it to you. You don't deserve it.
You'll lose it.
But I'm like, well, I came out of you. So I better get something out of this. It was gross in there, right? That's what I told my mom. Mom, it was nasty in there.
That's crazy. You talk about your mom's womb like that?
Yeah, I'm like,
you are red pill.
Yeah. 1 out of 10 would not come back to this place accommodation. It was like tight.
I would hope so.
Couldn't like move around.
Sam, because you know what's weird?
I couldn't watch TV.
You know what's weird is if it was 10 out of 10 and you tried to crawl back in. That's even weirder.
That is weird. And that's why I'm happy saying it's 1 out of 10.
Am I the asshole for giving my late husband's estate to a stranger instead of our kids? I, female, 55, have been married to my husband, male, 60, for 20 years before he died. It was cancer. He had 2 kids from a past marriage who were in their early teens when he married me. I had a 7-year-old from an earlier relationship as well. We did not have any more kids. I tried to treat my stepchildren as my own, but they never accepted me. They were very rude and insulted me whenever they could. Since I did not work, they called me a gold digger who married their dad only for his money. The truth was, my grandparents were quite wealthy and left me a lot of money when they died. I lived well below my means and chose to stay at home and raise my daughter, since I could afford that. I did not need his money at all, but I didn't bother sharing this with his kids and told him not to either. I didn't want them to like me just because they might gain money from me one day. My husband, on the other hand, hated how they behaved with me. Their blatant disrespect made him not pay for their college tuition, and their mom couldn't pay for it, and they had to take out loans because of it. They didn't even talk to him. Even when he got cancer, they refused to come and see him. Wow. For 3 years, we struggled with treatment. My daughter came to visit from time to time when she could. During this time, the only person who really helped both of us was someone who was not related to us at all. This girl in her late 20s waitressed at a cafe we frequented, and she was a single mom, taking classes at a community college at night, working during the day, and raising 2 kids. She took a liking to us, and when she learned my husband was sick, spending whatever time she could visiting him. She had stayed nights at the hospital when I needed a break and basically had been the daughter we wished for. When he died, she helped me arrange the funeral. His kids came on the day and they all wanted to know about their inheritance. I felt sick. When I learned my husband had left his estate to me, whatever is left after settling his bills, it was around $25,000. I decided to give it to the girl who helped both of us so much. She tried to refuse, but I insisted that she take it. She needed it and in my opinion deserved it more than the ungrateful children. My daughter understands why I didn't give it to his children, but is upset that I did not give any money to her either. I told her she already had money and a job, and not to mention she'll get my inheritance. This was in no way her money. But his ex-wife and kids are causing havoc over this and are really upset with me. They're calling me an asshole for giving away the money they deserve. Am I the asshole?
Was the daughter his daughter?
No. It was her daughter. Oh. So they didn't have any kids together.
All separate kids. Okay.
Yeah. This reminds me of Knives Out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. But
yeah.
Seeing it in this context, I'm like, okay, that is kind of childish because the same reasoning you're using for your daughter not to get that money is, I guess, in the same way, the same reason you should have used for the husband.
What do you mean?
Like, she's saying to the daughter, she's like, how she was upset that she wasn't getting any of that money. But she's like, look, you're getting my inheritance and like, that's theirs. Like, that's not your money to even receive from. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
oh, that's why they should have gotten the money?
Yeah, like it's kind of because that was his inheritance for his kids. So that's kind of not her. Like, you married into that money. Like, that's kind of not your money to decide.
Hey, what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. And then she just kind of gave it away. But like,
yeah,
there's so many layers because it's like, dang, like he was sick and y'all didn't see him once. That's crazy.
But if this was you, and I'm just asking this question, if you had money to give to your kids and they did not treat me, say if they were your kids, this is like the 6th week in a row. This guy
is crazy.
This is crazy.
He doesn't care about this podcast.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care about this time. He's so disrespectful.
I wasn't going to say disrespectful, but
and Maddie keeps cutting it out.
It happens.
We all know. Don't cut this out, a lot. Maddie, don't cut this out. Leave this in.
I actually don't think I cut it out last time either.
Oh, expose Brandon. People think he's so sweet. Oh, Brandon's so sweet. He's so nice. But I'm like, there's a real him that the audience doesn't see. I get vilified.
Well, you should be.
When you're the real villain.
No.
Right?
No.
Maddie, on the same page.
If this was you and you had kids,
I'm the one dying, or
no, you had kids before me. Say I don't know.
Well, yeah, this is weird. So did you guys break up, and then he had kids, and you guys got back together like later in life?
Well, we don't need to think about the semantics of it.
Oh,
but he has kids.
I only think about
you're gonna pass away, and the kids don't like me. Would you want your kids to have the money then? Because even then, they didn't come to his cancer. He had cancer for 3 years. They didn't come to visit him at all. It's like he even made that decision, kind of a move towards supporting his wife, where he was like, I don't like the way they treat you, so I'm not going to pay for their college tuition.
Right.
So I don't even think that he would have been like, I'm not going to give you at least all of it. You're not getting all of it. So I don't know. Maybe he would have made that same decision of like, maybe she is more deserving of it. And I'm sure he probably respects the fact that she didn't give it to her daughter because she was like you said, this isn't your inheritance. But I do get your point where you're like, okay, well then with that logic, shouldn't it go to the kids?
Yeah. I think I wonder if he said something about it too. Like, you guys didn't even come visit me when I had cancer or something. Like, I don't know, some sort of resolve or like closed loop. Like, so it's not, all the blame doesn't fall on the wife, where she's like, oh, like, you guys aren't getting this money. This random waitress that actually cared for your father is. But it's like, if he said something like that in the will, like, oh, like, you guys left me. I don't know, like one of those like movie endings where he's like, you guys left me. It's like a note or like a video. He's like, you guys left me alone.
Would you do that?
He kind of did though. He gave it to his wife only to make the decision. He trusted her to make that decision. Which,
yeah, that's where I'm like, it's following what legally happened. If he was like, this should go to my kids, was like written down, and she was like, nah, and disregarded it. But I'm like, yeah, this was his final decision to give it to her. It was his wife. He trusted what she was going to do with it. I think it is kind of petty, but I don't know if she's the asshole completely for it.
I just think she's in the rock and hard place because now she's the only one living to make that decision.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I think that's what I was getting at. It shouldn't have fell on her like that.
He should have said something in the thing, don't give it to my kids.
Yeah. Instead of being like,
Right?
well, you choose.
Yes.
But I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of selfish. So the dad's the asshole. Rest in peace, Dad.
I was gonna say the man who has cancer and
You
died.
can still be an asshole. Cancer patients do not get out of being assholes.
Because that is a crazy move. That's a crazy last
He's
chess
like,
move.
I'm out. It's on you.
Does that hit the soul leaving the
soul's
body?
like, he's
So-
like,
no,
I
just
would
like,
never make this decision.
it goes back down. It's all you.
Oh, I shouldn't have done it. I'm sorry. He was heading up. He's like, no.
She's like, no, you're not. Yeah, I don't know. Because I think in this situation, solely from her perspective, me reading it, I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you're not the asshole.
Yeah.
But thinking about me being able to do that to my own kids, I'm like, oh, like you're saying, it's a rock and a hard
But it's
place.
technically
It's
not
not
her
your
kids
kids,
or
yeah.
stepchildren. Because I'm like,
That's true.
It had to be stepchildren. When you first read, I'm like, it has to be stepchildren. And of course it was stepchildren.
Well, even her own kid, she didn't give it to her daughter.
Her reasoning is totally right. It would be so weird to not give it to her kids and then give it to your kid. That is bad, I think. You're like, that does almost seem like a gold digger. You're like, yeah, I fleeced him and then gave it to my kid.
Yeah.
And then give it to his own kids.
That'd
So I'm
be
like,
crazy.
she couldn't even make that decision because everybody would say she's an asshole. She gave it to her daughter.
But oh dang, I forgot.
Well, I don't think she's the asshole for not doing that because I don't know. I just realized that just goes the way. It's like people that have a lot of money, like literally the same example with inheritance. They talk about it all the time. They're like, let's give an example of a famous celebrity. They don't want their kids to grow up spoiled and expecting of things. So they say, I have money, but you need to earn your own way.
Right.
And if you end up being a good person, then yes, you will get an inheritance, but you're not going to be completely supported by me all the time just for you to throw away money willy-nilly.
Yeah, I've always I get that argument, but then I think about, okay, yeah, I do want my kids to be like productive. I want them to be good. I don't want them to be bad, jealous, and selfish people. But also, for a lot of things, like, this is my legacy. So even if you guys are assholes, I still want you to be good. You're still my family, even if you're the worst people. I'm like, I don't want you to be like starve and die and then be poor when you grow up, and then our family just goes down. Our legacy is down.
Yeah.
So it's like at a point you're like, I tried, they're bad, but hey, I literally did all this for you. What am I going to do with it?
I will say this would be a great Knives Out 2 plot.
Did you like Knives Out 2? Did you
I
see
liked
Knives
it.
Out 2?
I liked
There's a
it.
second
There's
one.
a second
It's not
one.
called Knives Out 2 though. It's called
It's called
something
Knives
else.
Out.
Oh, wait, no.
Something story.
You've seen it.
Yeah, the one with the skull and he's like pranking everybody.
Where they're on an island and
Yeah.
he's like, come to my island, and then somehow the guy
with
gets
Janelle
invited.
Monáe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that one. It was a good one.
I don't
You
think
didn't
it
like
was-
it?
I think the first one was so good, and I was like, I feel like the mystery is it was like so twisted, and
Yeah.
then that one I was just like, it
I
didn't
still
do
thought
it
it was
for
fun
me.
though. I
It was
mean,
fun, but it didn't do it for me because I was like so hyped to see the second one because I liked the first one so much.
Wait, you didn't? You guys both didn't like it? The second one?
No, I liked it.
I just thought the first one was way better, so it was a step
think-
down for me.
I watched it with you. I liked it.
Yeah, I think the first one, I think it was so good because, we haven't had that type of like murder mystery. So like the fact that it was like there, and it's not like an oversaturated movie yet. So the second one's obviously not going to be. But I don't know. I feel like they played off that mystery really well because I was like, oh wait, that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's like
I thought
code
it was
switching this whole time.
lazy.
No, what would have been lazy is if they were like, oh wait, this is another universe. That would have been lazy.
That would be dumb. I would turn the. If I see another parallel universe movie or show, I'll die. A multiverse show. I'm like, everything's doing it now.
Yeah.
But then Knives Out 3, I guess. That would have been a perfect plot. And then someone would have to die, obviously.
Yeah.
Someone else would have to die.
Maybe they can die of like
He would have to
allergies, like
die.
this next story.
Just do enthusiasm in your transitions. You're never happy about them. You're always angry about them.
I'm not angry.
No, she's
I just have
angry
to
when they're
say it.
Yeah, she gets so, she's like, I say a perfect transition like this next story. And I'm like, you're not happy about it. Bravo to you.
But then she's like, when they're bad.
When they're horrible, she's like,
I just love story. Applause.
you're like, yeah, woo, woo, woo.
Okay, well, I'm literally surrounded by haters.
Yeah.
And so whenever I
Like
do
this next story.
Okay, so this story has 3 updates to it.
Woo.
When we're reading this, it's the story only just came out 3 days ago.
Oh.
And then each day
Oh,
there's
shoot.
basically an update. So
3 days ago. So the last update will be today.
yeah, the latest update is from like 3 hours ago.
Fresh meat.
My boyfriend's mother keeps putting in an ingredient that I'm allergic to in her dishes.
What?
She's trying to kill you.
Knives Out 5.
Oh my God. You like told her the first time, you're like, yeah, so I'm allergic to it. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
So sorry. So sorry about that.
She's like pouring on everything, things it doesn't even belong on. She's like,
You're allergic? Oh,
peanut butter and fish.
My 23 female boyfriend, 23 male's mother, 56 female, keeps putting an ingredient I'm allergic to in her dishes. This has been somewhat of a nightmare, so any advice would be amazing. My boyfriend is also 23 for clarity. I have a garlic allergy. It's not lethal, and I definitely wouldn't get anaphylaxis or something like that. The problem is that I get asthma if I eat it, and it'll really mess with my digestion later. Everyone in my life knows that I cannot eat garlic, and I won't eat garlic. It makes eating out a nightmare because of how prevalent it is. So usually my boyfriend and I have date nights at our apartment and we cook for each other. But my boyfriend's mom has a family tradition and she insists that we all come to dinner at least once a month. She's a fantastic cook and usually a really nice lady to be around. But there's one problem. She wants me to come every time, but she always adds garlic to every dish. At this point, I've just started taking an inhaler and just eating the Hawaiian rolls she always serves. My boyfriend drives us and we just go get fast food right after. We've talked to her over and over again about the garlic. I've asked her over and over to please not use garlic. And she just says she doesn't understand how it's such a big deal because it's not like you'll die. I've tried skipping the meals, but she just throws a fit and drags her entire family into it. I've been with my boyfriend for 3 years now, and I'm best friends with his sister. I'm at my wit's end. How do I get this through to her?
Garlic on Hawaiian bread is crazy.
Well, it's not. It's not on
she's
Hawaiian
like,
bread.
that's
That's
the
why
only
it's
thing
safe to
that
eat.
wasn't.
Okay.
This is the plot of the new Saw movie. The mother-in-law is Jigsaw. She's like, let's play a game. I'm going to serve you garlic every time, and you have to survive it. This is crazy, even though garlic is so good. Oh my
Garlic is good.
That is an
Garlic
inconvenient thing to be
that
allergic to.
Sucks. That sucks. I get kind of from the mom, so I'm like, garlic is good. It can't be bad. So you must be bad for not being allergic to this. So I'm gonna keep doing me. I'm gonna do me. That's what the mom said.
I'm going to do my own
Yeah.
thing.
And she's like, I just don't want to like die, please. That's a wild thing to say. Is like, oh, you're not gonna die, so.
No, she's treating it like a lactose intolerant.
Yes!
Well, people that are lactose intolerant eat ice cream all the time. You'll be fine.
Well, even like your sister, Brandon, some people that are lactose intolerant, it really does affect them. And they should probably never have anything with lactose in it ever again.
And you know what they be doing?
They be taking some
Eating
pills.
eating lactose all the time. Like, oh my God.
Is it a sister thing? Because my sister's the same
Dude,
way.
there was one time we got ice cream and, she has to take the lactate pills to eat the ice cream.
Yeah.
She didn't have any, but she's like, I'm risking it.
They always do.
And she's like, I have to go to the bathroom. And then so we're walking through the store and we're trying to find the bathroom. I'm like, oh man, I'm not freaking out because I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
she can hold it. I look back and I swear Elisa's like, Brandon. I knew it got serious because she put her hand on my shoulder. It was like
a genuine.
I need to find the bathroom. I look and she's drenched.
Oh my!
Drenched in sweat. She just got a silk press. That joint is like puffing up.
Oh
and
my
I was like,
gosh.
oh no. She's like, I was like, I gotta find the bathroom or she's gonna not make it.
She needs some milk, or she don't need some milk.
She needs some
Keep her away from the milk.
Get away
Don't
from
touch
milk.
the milk.
That's
man.
wild.
It was so bad. But the fact that she just willingly ate that beforehand. So I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Well, that's like my friend. She's afraid of shellfish, and just like every couple of years, she would just eat shrimp. She was like, I have to try because shrimp is good. And you're like, yeah, I would do the same thing. But I'm like, maybe next time it'll be
wait, she's
different.
afraid or allergic to it?
Allergic.
Yeah, you said afraid.
Oh,
of
afraid. I think she's kind of scared of it.
I guess I'll just have to do it once.
Yeah,
Face my fear once a year. It's so good though.
Because my allergies, I'm allergic to penicillin and aspirin, so it's not a thing that I ain't checking for that. I'm not allergic to something delicious. That would suck.
I'm allergic to tofu, but it's weird because I'm not allergic to soybeans. Right.
How'd you find out you were allergic to tofu? I would never. I've never had it, so I would never know if I'm allergic or not.
My friend. Oh yeah, no, the homie Anthony,
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Shout out Anthony.
He was vegan at one point, and
Oh, you had some.
he was like, "Bro, you got to try these vegan ribs." And you know me, I love some ribs.
Wait, how do they look? Do they look like ribs?
No, no, they do not. But I was like, man, all right, cool. Ate it the first time, it was a little itchy. Second time I had it, I was like, man, maybe it was just, I don't know, maybe it could have been.
Did it taste good?
No, it didn't taste good. I had something else that was vegan.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, all right, bet, let's try this. Had it, broke out, and my skin started turning red, and I was like, dude, this is not normal. Had it one more time, red with bumps, and I was like, I think I could possibly go into anaphylactic shock with this. And I was like, I'm not gonna try it again. So never touch anything vegan. Like,
And you got an excuse now. You're like, I can't.
yeah,
I don't want.
but I'll do vegetarian stuff.
Well, you know
Some
what's funny
cauliflower
though is a few weeks ago we were talking about this, and I don't know how we got on the topic of it, but of how we just wanted to eat like better in general, like in the future. And he was like, "What do you think about being vegan
I
or
said
like
vegetarian.
Vegetarian."
Yeah.
Yeah, vegetarian.
And I was like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about why you don't eat meat,
Yeah,
because I am going to need some chicken in my life, some
Yes,
beef.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, maybe pork every once in a while. So let's discuss this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just funny. I guess they're two different things, right? Veganism and vegetarianism.
Yeah, I feel like vegetarians are like pretty chill. Vegans, and maybe it's not. I don't think it's all vegans. I just think it's this vocal minority that's on social media that are like harassing people. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't mind you being vegan, but you're like Mormons out here professing like the beauties of what veganism is and how you're evil for not doing it.
Yeah. No, the only reason I asked about being vegetarian though, because it's just like with all like the food and stuff being processed, it's like maybe we just take a break from it sometimes, or, you know, just like not all the time.
I heard a guy, he said he's vegan-ish, and I'm like, I think that's a good thing. We're just like, yep, I do it 60-70% of the time, and then I eat meat. Like I just eat less.
Yeah.
So I'm vegan-ish. And I'm like, oh yeah, do it in moderation.
Yeah, that's
Because we don't do stuff in moderation.
No, we're in America. Why would we do that?
Yeah.
Have you seen the size of our McDonald's extra large? Have you seen the size of our Sonic extra large cups? Route 44, baby.
That's crazy.
They're ginormous. But because you have them and you paid for them and they're so cheap, you're like, I need to drink all of this. Like I'll get a cherry limeade, Route 44 style.
That's the only one I want. That's the
and
only
I
one
will
do.
like want to throw up.
It is a lot. I went to Don and Melly's with Carmen, and I got a medium, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'll get a large," and I was like, because I'm like, this chick don't finish cans of soda. So I'm like, why is this chick in the large? And we get that, she's like, oh, and I'm like, yes, it's so big. Why would you get that? It's like, we should put it through the window. I'm like, it can't fit in my cup holder at all.
Freaking.
And she's like, I'm going to be drinking this for 3 days. I'm like, yes, you are. This is nuts.
I would say I'm the same way though, because I mean, shout out Mad. She got us some smoothies, and I'm just like, it took me this long to get this far.
And then you see
Maddie's
me
downing it.
I would have drank all of it already, but top comment. You need to talk to your boyfriend and maybe his sister, though I wouldn't expect that, about sticking up for you. She's not listening to you and she won't listen to an occasional talk, so he needs to remind her every time that sure, it won't kill you, but being unable to breathe properly will make even the best dinner hard to enjoy.
Right.
And that
Like
pushing
maybe.
Yeah. And that pushing allergies repeatedly over a long period can often make them worse. So it can have serious repercussions down the line. And she said, definitely going to talk to my boyfriend and his sister about this. Again, it's just so frustrating. And I've had food from her that didn't have garlic and it was fantastic. I just don't understand it.
It's almost purposeful.
Update, my boyfriend's mother keeps putting an ingredient I'm allergic to in her dishes. Hi again. To those of you who said that she didn't like me, you were 100% correct. After my boyfriend woke up yesterday, we had a long talk about how bothersome his mother's refusal to take out the garlic is. He agreed that we should just skip the dinner until she takes it out. Something about it still bothered me, so I ended up calling her and just bluntly asking her. She kept evading the question, says she's just a garlic lover and that she doesn't understand what the big deal is, etc., etc.
No.
Until finally, after like 30 minutes of back and forth, she finally admitted that she just doesn't like me. I think I'm correct in drawing the conclusion that she was trying to drive me from her family with garlic shenanigans.
Oh, okay.
But maybe I'm just overthinking. I don't know.
No, I don't think you are.
Anyways, I asked if it was because of my job as a receptionist, my age, background, whatever, and she just flat out said that she doesn't like that I have a septum ring and my tongue done.
Oh my
and that I
God.
color my hair in unnatural colors, and she thinks it's unprofessional and proves that I'm too much of a wild child to date her son, which sucks because I really like this woman, but I guess she was just being polite out of courtesy rather than actually liking me herself. After I ended the call, I went to go find my boyfriend and he basically fessed up and said, yeah, his mother was not a fan and she kept hinting that he should break up with me, mostly by mentioning stuff like, my friend Jenny has such a cute daughter and that sort of thing.
God. This mom is crazy.
Which hurts like hell, but I'm glad that I know.
Yeah.
Anyways, my boyfriend and her sister have agreed to start a group dinner once a month. I'm going to stop going to the dinners and my boyfriend will go without me. And then there's another update after that.
I have a question for both of you.
What's up?
If one of your parents didn't like the other person, would you tell them? Like if Mama G didn't like Brandon, would you tell Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I think also, especially if Brandon's coming to me and he's like, I think they're doing this weird thing. And I know the cause of it because my mom doesn't like him.
Yeah.
I think I would have to do that because in a way, we would either have to break up because I'm like, I don't want to choose between you or my family. Or, you know, if I really cared about him, I'm like, listen, then it's just going to be you and me because, yeah, she does this on purpose. She doesn't like you.
Yeah.
I want you to be made aware because I don't want there to be like, I think I would because I think it's important that he kind of has the understanding of what's happening in the family and not being left out. And I'm kind of on the side of my family instead of being like, it's you and me and here's what you're missing, you know?
Yeah, I would tell too, because
Yeah.
you kind of owe it to them to tell, because like everything Maddie said, if it's like, I feel like I'm being treated this way, in a sense, if you don't tell them like, yeah, this is actually valid, it's almost like kind of like hiding the truth in a way. It's like, oh, like, so you were just gonna make me think I was feeling crazy about it, but no, that's actually what the real scenario was. But that, and I don't know, like me and Maddie never casually date, so it's like the end goal is always a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Are you proposing to me?
I am not here watching this right now. Wait, actually, if I'm not there when you propose, I'm gonna be mad. I think
You're gonna be mad that you're not in it.
I think I'll be mad.
Okay. What if I said I,
don't
didn't
have
want
to
like
be
a public?
involved. I just want to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it needs to be filmed.
No, I need to see it. I don't need to
eyes
watch
need to
it.
be
Yeah,
there.
I don't need to watch it. I need to see it.
Yeah.
But I don't have to be involved. You don't have to like.
Hey Sam, can you take these pictures? I got everything
get
set
down
up.
And you like jump off of me with the ring. Like I don't need to be a prop or anything, but I just want to see it. But if you want to use me, use me. If you want me to trick Madi into doing something.
No, you push me over. I fall on one knee. I'm just like,
somersault. I'm like, you my cousin. You're like, whoosh.
But then it's like a prank where you just run away, and I'm like, Brandon, why is he running away?
Yeah.
He's like, I can't be here anymore. Hides behind bush and watches.
Like, yeah, because I don't want you seeing me see it.
I'll just be like, so did Sam leave completely? So he knew about this, he just left?
He's gone. He said, I'm here.
And the bushes are rustling. I'm like, tears
just
are like
like-
coming out of the bushes. Don't drag me. Yeah, I'm like,
Don't mind me.
you can't see me, right?
Just coming out like the enemy. But yeah, that's a big thing. I think people overlook a lot is you kind of have to have the family like you.
1,000%.
Yeah, so it's like it's interesting that she's like, yeah, my boyfriend will just have his family dinner with his family, and I'm just not gonna go. It's like at that point, you just shouldn't be together because you're not gonna be included in. If it started at dinner, it's gonna go to holidays.
Yeah.
It's gonna go to other family events. It's gonna go to vacations. You're just not. You're gonna always be the odd person out, and I don't know why anybody would choose to put themselves in that.
Well, on the other side, I see what you're saying because I mostly agree with you. But there's people who are like, I love this person and my family does not get along with them. I'm supposed to break up with them because my family, for whatever reason, it could be valid, it could be not valid. I think more when it's not valid, you're like, they just have a weird vendetta. Like her thing against her is like nothing. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I have to break up with her because she doesn't like her.
True. I get that too.
I do think there's a reason like we have to at least have some kind of respect between them because I'm like, I don't think everyone can like everyone. But I'm like, we got to respect each other at least, especially if I'm like, I'm going to be long term with this person. But it's hard to say you have to like.
Yeah. Well, I guess long term too. But if you think about it, like long term, at the end of the day, you got family.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
Shave the head, Vin Diesel, all that.
Family. Back to the story. I've never said that.
Yeah, I didn't know how to react to that.
This is a podcast, and we have a job to do.
Wow.
What I was saying, I'm like, the mom is evil. To the garlic thing, bad. But then to demand you come every time and get mad when you don't come, that's messed up.
That is really messed up, actually.
That is messed up. Because I can see, like, I just like garlic and I'm not going to do anything to not put garlic. That's how I cook. And you're like, well, I'm not going to come then. Really? You're not going to come?
You asked for this.
She's a villain. So I like the resolution of, I'm just not going to go anymore. I wish there was something, but there's two things like, that's my mom. Mm-hmm. She's always going to be my mom. I can't get away from that being my mom. I don't know how to resolve this because my mom's a grown woman. I don't know how to get her to make better. I literally have no sense of control over my mom. So there's nothing I can do there. And then this person that I'm in a relationship and I love with, what do I do?
Yeah,
it's a tough thing, especially when you know your mom is wrong. If my mom did that to my mom, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like we talked about it where we would kind of cover each other in that situation,
right?
But he did not do that. He was in support of his mom, and then when she finally was like, "So I talked to your mom, and she said this," and he's like, "I knew the whole time."
Yeah,
That's like,
That hurt.
oh man, that
That
would
would hurt.
be so hurtful. So top comment, it's actually OP. She said, I'll be honest, this entire reveal has left a bad taste in my mouth of what else they have hidden. I don't know. It bothers me that he didn't tell me. And his reasoning for not telling me was that he hoped she'd get over it and he wanted to spare my feelings, which is goddamn shitty. So the final update.
Wait, I will say, I feel like, I mean, I'm not defending the boyfriend in that scenario because yeah, you definitely should have covered. But like that, it's like one of those things where like you're trying to save somebody, and you end up just making it way worse than what it needed to be.
Yeah,
like dang, that sucks that you got caught up in that type of scenario where you're like, well, if I spare her feelings, she won't have her feelings hurt. But it's like, no, your mom's actually being a villain, and you need to cover her. And it's like, oh wait, I should have thought that through.
in this specific situation, I wouldn't even believe it almost. I'm like, yeah, my mom is trying to poison my girlfriend. How do I tell my girlfriend that my mom is trying to cause her to not breathe? That's weird.
Inflict asthma on her.
I wonder if like, so she said earlier, she was like, the mom was like, if you're not going to die, I wonder if the mom's like, well, you're not going to die, so it's fine. You know, like the mom's like, I tried everything and this won't kill you.
I thought this would do it.
You'll be fine.
Like, hopefully we get to anaphylactic shock.
Or where she doesn't, she's like, oh, I know you're not going to die, but I like seeing you suffer.
Yeah.
Or allergies get worse the more and more you engage them. She's probably like, if I just keep doing it, just day by
Or
day.
if you have trouble breathing, then all I got to do is lightly touch your neck and then you're done.
Oh, okay.
So
Strangle.
final update here.
Yeah.
It's titled, We Did Break Up.
But yeah, fair.
Yeah, needed.
Hi, me again. I broke up with him and basically spent the day fielding
Wait,
text.
this happened over 3 days? Is this?
Yeah, this one is actually from... Yeah, this happened
hours
over
ago.
3 days. So she sent the first
Yeah.
thing, and then she sent the update where she was like, the mom did. And now the next day she was like, we
We're
broke
done.
up. I just couldn't. Hi, me again. I broke up with him and basically spent the day fielding texts from him asking what the F was going on and why I was freaking out over his mom. As I said in the update, I got the ick. The more I thought about it, he didn't defend me to his mom, refused to tell me about her underhanded tactics, and as time went on, I just didn't like him anymore. It's like a switch flipped. So when he woke up, he got a call from me saying that it wouldn't work out. We had a long conversation that basically turned into him being defensive, and in the end, I was firm. I also sent a text to his sister along the lines of, if you have questions, ask your brother, before I blocked her. Of course, it kind of feels shitty that I lost my best friend and my boyfriend, but on the bright side, at least I wasn't cheating, and they just suck. Thank you for everyone for the advice.
Sister gotta catch these hands.
Well, maybe she knew too. I don't know.
Wow.
Thank you everyone for the advice, and hopefully I find a better man with a better family.
Wait, hold on. Okay,
Never
that
date your
last-
friend's siblings, man.
Yeah.
That last update, there's so much to unpack there.
Yeah.
So first, he's like, what the heck is wrong? Like, at the beginning, like, what do you mean, what the heck is wrong? Your mom is literally poisoning your girlfriend. Then two,
What's wrong with that? Her dishes taste good with garlic.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's your problem that you're allergic to garlic.
Right.
it's your fault for being allergic.
You did this to us.
But then she said, at the end, did she say, at least I wasn't cheating?
Yeah. She was just saying at least there was no cheating and they just suck.
Okay. I was about to say that's a wild line to say. At least I wasn't cheating this time.
She cheated a lot. This was my first time I ended it on good terms. I was out here. No relationship was safe.
And then last, if you have any questions, ask your brother. Wasn't that your best friend?
Yes. That's something you can't date your sibling because if there's always a point where even if they don't ever break up, they end up staying together where they fight and you're like between both. You're like, oh, that's my brother. Oh, that's my best friend. Whose side am I on in this fight?
But
And-
it's like, if she had the best friend relationship, why didn't she just tell her?
Well, I think she had the best friend relationship after. So
After
after she
the-
met the family, she's like, oh my God, you're like my best friend.
you.
I love you.
Your mom's trying to kill me.
That's good for us.
Well, moral of the story, I hope they use a condom. Like the second story.
Sam's like,
No
this is a
kids.
podcast and we're moving and I don't want to talk to you guys about anything else.
No kids.
Double entendre. Is that looked it up on. No,
Ready? Am I the asshole for bringing the condom on a first date?
The asshole for bringing it?
No.
Bringing it.
No.
I don't think so either.
You gotta be safe and protected. But there's a twist to this. I can see it in Maddie's face. There's something weird about it.
All right. I, 28 male, recently went on a date. I met Sally, fake name, 25 female on Hinge, connected well, and we both decided to meet for drinks. I don't go to Hinge for hookups, but sex does happen when you connect with someone, and I like to be prepared, so I'll bring protection. The night goes well, great conversation, great chemistry, and she invites me back to her place. We talk a little longer and we get to her bedroom, and as things get hot and heavy, I pull out a condom. And then room dynamics change. She questions why I brought a condom and then politely asks me to leave. As I get home, apologizing in the process, she states that she doesn't like the idea that I was potentially expecting to get lucky. Understandable. And doesn't think that it'll work. After bringing this back to the friend group, male and female, it has been mixed feedback. On one hand, it is responsible to bring your own protection. On the other hand, it is kind of a weird move to do that early in the dating process. Wanting to hear the thoughts from the general population, especially as it's pretty common for me to bring a condom on the first date. Am I the asshole for expecting to be safe if a situation happens, but also expecting a situation to potentially happen early in dating?
Wait, so I missed how the condom was shown. Did it accidentally fall out or?
No, they were getting hot and heavy and he pulled out the condom.
Oh.
To like put it on. So there's a few notes. Do you just want me to read them now?
Yeah.
Okay, so 1, explaining hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Making out with physical touch and clothes were being removed. Intercourse was next. I just didn't want this post to focus on erotica/sex, but rather the idea of the presumption of sex. Edit number 2, doing a secondary edit because people are adding, was it consent? I asked her consent. We were transitioning into sex. Again, I don't want this to be an erotica. I wanted to focus on the notion that is it bad to be carrying protection on the first date?
People are like, no, we want this to be. We need to hear notes about what happened. What
so you were touching her shoulder or...
Did she shiver a little bit when you touched her? You know what I'm saying? I need to know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's the asshole. I get where she can be coming from, where she was like, oh, like, are you expecting this to happen? But from what he's describing, they are moving into having sex. So does she want him to not show anything at all?
How many clothes? Because I think there's a point where you cross, you're like, oh, we're going to have sex. Like, it's very odd. But I think there's a gray area where you're like, it could go either way, where it could just go somewhere like some clothes are removed and this is it. Mm-hmm. This is it for all we're doing, then we're done. Mm-hmm. But there's a point where a certain items are removed and you're like, I think it's about to go down.
Yeah.
And that might be where they're judging it differently. She's like, no, I just wanted to get my titties out. That's it. I wanted you to see the girls, but it's not going any further. And he's like, oh, once you see titties, that means it's sex.
Yeah.
I think there is a gray area for people where they're like, I don't know whether, because I kind of been in a similar situation, but it was the opposite where we were making out, things were coming off. And judging for me, I think it was more on my side. It was my fault. Where things came off, it was totally her. She was like, we're going to have sex. And in my head, I was like, we're not going to have sex. And it was so awkward. We were like, oh. Where I'm like, it's totally me. I'm like, it's completely obvious. It seems like we're going to have sex. But I was like, oh, in my head, it was not a thing. Uh-huh. So I was like, oh. And she felt so bad. And I felt bad. And I'm like, oh, no. So I get the situation where you could think one thing and the other person thinks another thing.
Well, I think from what he was saying, she maybe was down to do it, but it's just the fact that he pulled out the condom.
Like, I was ready to do it.
Because he was like, I have this just in case something happens. And
she's like, do you think I'm that kind of girl that would have sex on the first date? Because I am, but I don't want you to think that.
She's like, it just happened this way, but I don't like the fact that you're prepared.
Right.
But also, if that were to be the situation where it's the other way around, where they are potentially going to have sex and there is no condom, wouldn't you want to not have sex at all then? Because you're like, I'm not trying to get pregnant.
Right.
At least that's...
No, I think you're right, but I do really think it's her, like, you expected this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to... I'm a lady and...
I'm a lady.
I'm a lady.
Are you sure about that?
Like, it's that weird thing with women now where we want women to be comfortable in their own bodies and comfortable in their own sexualities and do things what they want to do without being labeled sluts or whores, but also still operating under that in a lot of ways where in your mind, you're like, I know I'm not just willy-nilly. I really like this guy. I do want to do it. But then I don't want the perception of me being a slut, even though I know it's like ingrained. You have two things in your head at the same exact time.
Yep.
I want to have sex just as much as he wants to have sex, but I can't be seen to be shown that I want to have sex. So sometimes I get uncomfortable when people think we're going to have sex because that says something about me as a person. And you're like, no, I want to do it just like you want to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And some people, it's like really casual too. So they're like,
yeah,
just like we're going on a date, whether this works out or not, this is what I want to do.
Right.
But I get it. I get both sides. And I think it is just a misunderstanding. But how can you, did you want to say something, Brandon?
Oh, I was just going to say he's not for, it's the actual act of bringing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not. Like, that's completely fair. I think the next question you were going to ask was, is there like a certain way you should do it, right?
I was just going to say, like, in the future, like, how is there a way that this misunderstanding can be dealt with? Because there is those presumptions in society where you actually kind of hit it right on the head, where there is two different things going on in a woman's head where it's like, I want to do this, I want to be free, but I literally grew up thinking all of this misogynistic things about myself. Right. And depending on the household that I grew up in, I might still have misogynistic things in my mind.
Right.
You know, so, and not even realizing it. I just don't know like how you can avoid it in the future, you know, because it seemed like he's like, I thought we were both about to do something. Right. I wanted to pull this out because I don't want to have a baby right now. I just met you. I thought this was going to be quick and consensual. You seemed like you wanted to do it. I wanted to do it. But it is maybe a turnoff for her where she sees that. I think
really the only thing you can do is do it later.
Yeah. Just not have sex the first night.
Well, I'm not going to knock any. Me personally, I just wouldn't do. I don't want to have sex with someone the first night. But for people who do, you just got to play the situation to as long as it get where you're like, it is happening. It's not a maybe. This is happening. Like we're ready and things are happening. You're like, okay, I have well, because most people do ask anyway. Do you have protection?
Not the asshole. Being unprepared can lead to much bigger complications. And somebody else said, the phrase having a condom doesn't mean you plan to have sex, but not having a condom means you plan to have kids. Help me get over myself. I always take a condom along on dates, even ones where people say beforehand, I'm not into hookups, because you just never know.
Sam, stop.
Ooh, that was a workout.
I hate when you do stuff like that, and I just can't break the eye contact. I'm like, I want to look away so bad, but it makes me mad.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
If you lived with me, though, I'd be like, you need to move out, Sam. Like this next story. Okay, so this next story comes from r/Comfort Level Pod. Thank you guys so much for submitting your stories. There's actually been a lot of people that have been submitting their stories even as of the past few weeks. So this one,
yeah, we do have a lot of stories.
Yeah, we have a lot to get through. So we'll have to do like
stories about me, I think. So if you love this show, do more stories about me, preferably how you think I'm cute and sexy and hot. And funny.
Sam could run a cold at this point.
So we love all the stories. We're going to read as much as we can.
We're going to read as much as we can. We're going to have to do like another story listener episode just to get kind of caught up. But if you know how you get on
for sure, write a story about me, about how I'm funny, cute, and hot.
Because Sam will send it to me and I'm like, ugh.
We have to read it.
Okay, so is it unfair to ask my boyfriend to move out?
Not ex-boyfriend.
What's that face? He's had that face for about 5 seconds now, and it's only been getting stronger.
I don't like where this is going.
Is it unfair to ask my 22 female boyfriend, 22 male to move out? My boyfriend and I have known each other ever since we were in middle school. We dated briefly, but he remained one of my best friends for years. We stayed in touch through high school, and even after he moved away, he came up to visit last spring, and things just kind of progressed.
Oh.
We've been dating for 1.5 years now. He ended up moving back to our hometown and living with his parents for a while before moving in with me. I have a small cabin I renovated on my parents' property. We've been living together for about 1 year now. Originally, when I asked him to move in, I was hoping to start an add-on project to the cabin so we'd have more space, but that never happened. We renovated a school bus in the yard that we use as another room, but the space is very limited.
Wow.
I know, it was very cool and artistic. I was like, okay. Now there's some background information. Here's what I'm struggling with. I have CPTSD, and so my mental health is an ongoing battle for me. I was doing a lot better when we got together, and the last year has been really hard. I feel like I'm doing something very wrong whenever I'm not happy, so I always try and hide my feelings. I know I'm bad at communicating, but I try really hard, even though it's very uncomfortable for me. I do my best to communicate and try to find solutions for the problems, but I really feel like I do most of the emotional legwork. I feel like I have to be perfect in the way that I communicate an issue, or it will go wrong. Not sure if there's a trauma response there or not. I honestly don't really know how we got where we are. I feel so disconnected from him. I feel like I'm constantly trying to get a moment of connection with him, but can never get his attention. When we talk about things that he likes. He can go on for hours about his hobbies, but he can't ask more than one question about my day. One of my main love languages is physical touch, and I've been trying to express how I really need more physical affection to feel loved, but when I do find a moment for us to cuddle, he's usually on his phone or watching TV. I feel like an inconvenience, and it feels almost shameful to have to ask for basic affection like that. I feel like I'm always waiting on him to come home, and when he gets off work, he goes out to play pool for hours every night. And when I brought this up to him, he said that he's just filling his life with the things that he enjoys, which is fine, but I used to be one of those things, and I don't feel like I am anymore. I feel like I don't know how to act around him most of the time. I feel alone and confused and disconnected from myself. I've tried to fall back into routines and hobbies that I used to have, but I feel like I have no space to exist in my home. I'm just at a loss because I feel like I have been trying really hard to survive lately, and I don't feel any support coming from him in any aspect of my life, but I feel really hesitant to break up with him because he's the sweetest soul, and we have such a beautiful love. I just don't want to throw it away, but I can't beg for attention. I think that maybe he just doesn't understand the gravity of the situation, so I'm thinking if I ask him to move out, he'll understand how serious I am. Also, I think that not living together might make us put more effort into planning dates and things to do. I guess in general, I'm just asking for advice. How do I talk to him so that he understands, but also preserving our relationship?
Boo Bear. Oh, Boo Bear.
Oh.
That was funny. This usually never happens, but both of you guys simultaneously just slowly looked at me, and I was like, what did I do?
This is about you.
No,
Madi wrote this about you.
I would say, don't be hesitant. If you knew better, he'd do better. Yeah, because I mean, every relationship has ebbs and flows, and I know you're saying it's hard to communicate your feelings and stuff, but at the end of the day, too, like there should be some sort of like way that he should sense something's off, like. I noticed it. Dang. Like, me and Maddie's had some fair shares of seasons like that where it's like we're focused on one thing so much to the point it's like, hey, I'm not getting any attention. And, you know, just people hype up that conversation too much. But for us, it's literally like, just like, hey, this is how I feel. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong because you're chasing what you want to do, but this is how I feel in the process of you doing that. Right. And can we figure out like something like, our date nights are on Thursday, and that was one of the things that I think it was our first time. Was it our first time that happened? Like we were like, hey, we're not spending as much time together.
Yeah, I think it was one of them because I was working almost a full-time job, and then I was also trying to do this on the side, and then we were all both in school, and so I'll just say it was me. I was the person who was really focused on other things. Yeah. And Brandon felt like, rightfully so, that he was getting way less attention because we used to work together. We used to work together at the
did?
same job. So we saw each you shut up, Sam.
I'm the audience right now. What?
So we saw each other all the time. So we would have our full-time jobs, but
Yeah.
we would see each other every single day, all the time. And then we would hang out after that. But then,
Workplace romance.
yeah, but then I quit and had a few different jobs. And then I finally had a different full-time job. And then I started working on the podcast. And then we went back to school together and we took some classes together, but not all the time. So there would be days that I would have off and days that he would be in class. And so it was like we needed to really prioritize our time together because it seemed like we saw each other significantly less.
Yeah. And then the places where we did see each other wasn't like we couldn't like talk all day or all the time. It'd just be like for here, it's like we had like, although it is conversations, I can't have the conversations I would if it was just us two in the room or
Right,
like
if I was not here. Because I always feel like I shouldn't be here a lot of the time. I feel that vibe that you guys don't want me to be here.
That's
so
not true.
no, that's
I
not true.
get it.
You're lying.
That's not
You're
true.
And the way you guys
fabricating
are like,
it.
oh, it's not true. It's definitely true. Because the way
No.
you quickly said it's not true, it's so true.
Because there was one time where we were kind of flirting with each other and you're like, okay, bye. But other times I feel like
I
we
feel like
both
I pick up on it sometimes where I'm like, okay, so I'll see you guys later. I'm like,
No,
I
because
don't-
you guys all usually
We
leave
live at the same time.
now.
there's been a couple times where you guys are like, da 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 da, and I'm like, I gotta go.
But I feel like that was really early on. That hasn't happened in a long time. And even now it'll be like the last time we were here with Alicia and I'm like, I'm gonna go.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
but then
we
I
were here
kept
for like an
staying.
hour.
But it was just like, I felt weird because not everybody was leaving at the same time. But I'm like, I feel like I don't need to be in this conversation. You guys are just talking about random stuff and I want to go home.
I was like, y'all need to go home. I want to skate.
So it was actually me that I was trying to dip. But
Because it is usually Brandon, like,
he's like, get out of my house.
he does this. He's like,
He's like, you guys don't have anywhere to be.
yeah.
I'm not a morning person. You guys are here at like 10. I'm like, yo.
But sometimes we come at 6 p.m.
Yeah,
at
we come
night.
at 6. So I don't know what your excuse is. There.
No, y'all don't leave until at 6.
You're a
Y'all
cranky person. in
come at
general.
6. Y'all don't leave at 6.
That's just a sketch.
Y'all leave at 11.
Sometimes we just talk, you know.
But yeah. Back to the story.
Yeah.
So there's that one thing. I wouldn't say like, because I don't know what the PTSD comes from, but like some sort of therapy might help a lot because you should, how do I say this? Not you should.
You need to.
Not even you need to. You should.
You must.
It doesn't feel right to say you should, like putting that on someone that has PTSD, but it should be fair for you to feel like you can express your feelings without feeling any type of emotional turmoil afterwards. Like, it's so tough. But yeah, he should just know, but like, you know, you could tell when your partner's off, especially if you really
should be
love
able
them.
to tell.
But
Yeah.
you gotta say something too.
She's got to say something, but it's like,
But you can also tell.
You
So
can
you're
tell,
like, it's
but you must
definitely,
say something.
you should say something. But
can
she
tell.
also did say something.
Yeah.
She has communicated that. Like, she's like, hey, I would like more physical touch, or, you know, I want to prioritize seeing you. And I feel like you're going out and playing pool all the time. And he was
Yeah.
like, well, I'm just doing things I like to do. I feel like that was like a little bit of like a low blow for him. Because even the way that you wrote it, I was like, maybe it's the way that you wrote it, but I was like, I can see where OP is coming from, where they're like, and I feel like I used to be that person.
Yeah.
Because yes, it is your responsibility to be the first one to communicate. There should always be the partner who can sense that something's off.
Yeah.
So they're either going to communicate it if you don't, or they're going to expect that, you know, there's going to be that conversation.
Right.
But what happens afterwards, because she has communicated that,
Right.
and he's still not putting in effort, but you love this person.
Well,
Oh,
that's
I would say also love in a relationship is not enough.
right.
So
Yes. Yes.
it's like you could love somebody, but it's like, dang, like practicalities of a relationship. No one ever talks about the practicalities of
No
a
one talks
relationship.
about it.
They're always like, oh, if you love them, chase them. Like, that's all fine and dandy.
Jason.
But it's like, that's great.
If you love
for
them, stalk them.
All right. Okay.
That's what you said.
Shout out,
No.
Joe.
Like Maddie said something different.
That's what you said. Chase,
Chase.
stalk.
No.
Wow. We're
I
having a
mean, like,
conversation
you know, like
with Maddie after her love languages.
It's hunting. Brandon's giggling a little too light. He's like,
That's what
makes
the
a
word
lot of
was.
sense now.
I couldn't put my finger on it, but that's what it felt like.
that's what it was.
I felt like prey and was always nervous.
But I was like, why am I low-key into
Yeah,
this, baby? Well,
You can catch me.
come get me. Oh, my God. Oh. But, yeah, the practicalities of relationship, a lot of people will not. I feel like you got to do some soul searching for it. You love somebody. You have that feeling. But it's like, at the end of the day, is this person really going to look out for me? Are they going to be able to comfort me when I don't know how to be comforted? Are they going to be able to, if I was sick, they know exactly what it does to cheer me up? Like, stuff like that is the things you should be looking for, not just the feeling that you get from the person.
Yeah, the reason I said poor girl, poor baby, is because I've had these conversations with my friends, and it was coming up in that story where she was like, well, I try to communicate. He talks a lot about himself. He does things that he wants to do. But I don't want to break up because I have this love. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's like love. When I ask some of my friends these questions, I'm like, you love them. Why do you love them? Because everything you said, it seems like hell. She can't even be at her house. She doesn't feel comfortable at her house because of what this relationship is. So you're like, what is it that you love? And when most people talk about it, they're like, well, I love like how it was at the beginning. Like I love that feeling I felt, that rush I got when I met this person and we connected. And especially if you're friends for a long time and it's like this long burning, burgeoning thing, you're like, you love that. You love that idea of what that was, but you're not in the present situation that you're in. Yeah. What you described is bad. Mm-hmm. You need to break. You should not be together. I hate saying people should break up, but I'm like, in this situation,
they need to.
You need to, especially you're both 22. Mm-hmm. I do think it's something that he could probably grow and he could probably get better in, but this is not your fight. You're mentally being hurt. You're in a hurt. You're already vulnerable from your condition. And now you're just in a situation that's it's actively making it worse. You should ask him to move out and you should ask him not to be in a relationship anymore. Mm-hmm. That's what I firmly believe. Because I'm like, when you think about what you love about the person and you can only feel bad about what you're living in, but your love is for this other thing that's
like a past feeling.
Yeah, it's like a past feeling because most people, it's always a past feeling like, oh, it was so good at the beginning. And I want to get back to that. But you're like, time after time, your partner's showing that, no, this is what we are now. Like, this is what I am now. This is what it's going to be like now. You're like, but if we just get back to that, we'll be perfect. It's likely not going to be, especially if you're telling them and nothing's changing, it's not going back to that.
Yeah.
I had two things.
Yeah.
The first thing you said you can't even be comfortable in your own home.
That was good.
It's like, oh my gosh, that's even worse because it's like, if you're with somebody you truly love, you'll always feel at home, no matter where you are. So like literally you being in your own house and like not being able to feel like you're at your own house is crazy.
I would die if I couldn't go home and like feel.
Yeah.
You can still fight. You can still be mad, but you still feel like, no, I feel still safe here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even feel safe in your own home.
God.
That needs to. You said something else. Oh yeah, getting caught up on the good old days, and it's like, I feel like from our personal experience and what we've seen, a healthy relationship doesn't focus on the good old days. They focus on making more better days. They don't focus on what used to be. They focus on what.
I can only snap with one hand, but I support you 2 times.
Yeah, we need like a poet snap sound. I'll get that on the soundboard. Oh, that is. That's my favorite part of it. The click is very nice.
I clicked it a few times. I was like, what was it saying? Oh, yeah. Don't focus on the good old days.
Yeah.
Focus on what could be and what you can make with who you have. Sorry, I had to say that.
Thank you. Yeah. So top comment, Seems like he already checked out of the relationship and he's just using you as a way to not move back in with his parents. Couples therapy and maybe some space could help. And OP said, we tried couples therapy a few months ago, but stopped going. He said he always felt attacked and ganged up by me and the therapist. And he always felt like we didn't need to go. And I got tired of coordinating the whole thing, so we stopped going. And then the original commenter said, if he feels attacked, it's probably because he's doing something wrong and doesn't want to take accountability. Give him a 30-day eviction and move on. You'll find someone that loves you and could possibly help you build that addition. And I totally agree.
Facts.
Yeah, if you don't want to work on this relationship like at the same effort as me, then what are we doing? Even though some people be going overboard, I do feel like there's a level where we gotta. It's like a job now.
It's like you're dead to me. Like this next story. What do you think about that one? With the enthusiasm. Brandon liked it. Cousins. Am I the asshole for telling mother-in-law that she was dead to me after she showed up in labor and delivery without my mother? For the past 3 months, it has been a very well-known plan that when I, 30 female, went into labor, my husband was going to drive me to the hospital and my mother-in-law was going to pick up my mother, my kids, and my grandmother, all from one house.
They were all together.
Yeah. Both my mother-in-law and my mom were supposed to be in the delivery room. My gram was to watch my 2 kids in the waiting room. Everyone was in agreement with the plan. Now, my husband and I have 2 sons already, and for both births, my mother was present. She helped me through so much of the mental anguish and panic, especially after my last, whom literally almost killed me. I was bleeding on the table, and my mom was the only one to be able to keep me calm. I needed her to be with me for this baby too, mentally. So we worked this plan out months in advance, and everyone was on the same page. However, I go into labor, we make the phone calls to mother-in-law and my mom, telling my mom to be ready and my mother-in-law to go get my mother. An hour and 15 minutes later, mother-in-law shows up at the hospital without my mom, my kids, or my grandmother. She said, well, it's late, so we just need to let everyone sleep. It was 9:30 p.m. And then sat her ass down on the chair in the delivery room and jumped on her phone. I told her in a pissed tone to go get my mom. That was the plan. I needed my mom, etc. And she just wouldn't. At one point, saying that she didn't feel like driving that much. My mom lives 20 minutes from her house, which is an hour away. So I told her to get the F out of the room and that she was dead to me. The amount of resentment and disgust that I felt towards her in this moment is honestly not something I feel I will overcome anytime soon. She was pissed, saying that my mom got to experience 2 births already and how she didn't do anything wrong and she was just being respectful of people's sleep. And when she wasn't leaving, she was actually escorted out. My mom was able to make it to the hospital literally just as I was giving birth. My kids and my grandmother weren't able to make it, which bothers me a great deal. We promised our kids that they would be the first to meet their sister outside of us and Grammy. I cannot forgive my mother-in-law for all of this. I honestly feel like I hate her with every fiber of my being, but I'm being told I'm taking this too far and that it wasn't that big of a deal. Am I the asshole? I understand where she's coming from, and I honestly don't think that I can give my opinion about this.
You have to. That's the show.
Because I haven't given birth. That almost caused me to die. And if I were ever to give birth, I know that I would be able to have my mom there with me.
His face was like almost being able.
Well, I was like,
did you miss that part?
No, it was weird that she put that qualifier on it.
I haven't given birth. Birth in general is scary, but giving birth and you almost die is even scarier.
Because I'm like, wait, does Maddie have a kid and I don't know about it?
No, giving birth is scary.
Yeah.
Giving birth to a child and you almost dying is scarier.
Oh, terrifying.
And the only person that can comfort you, for whatever reason, was seemingly not picked up out of malicious intent. And so you're already like probably in a bunch of pain because you know, the baby's slowly moving in you. So you're having all these contractions and you're getting ready to give birth in a few hours. And you're like, where is she?
Because she said it was too late.
She said it was too late. It was 9:30 p.m. at night. And she would have been able to pick them up at around like 8:15 or 8:30 because she lives 15 minutes away from mother and mom's house.
The plan didn't account for the time. Like, This only works if it's between noon and 4 p.m.
I guess so. So I don't think that she is the asshole, but I can't say if it's an overreaction because I didn't go through what she felt in that moment, and her mom was barely just able to come and help her.
Yeah.
You know? So this is a crazy situation.
I get getting mad, especially with what she went through before. I would probably say something similar, like, yeah, you're dead to me. Like, angry, she said she never felt that feeling ever in her life before. But the mom still made it. Mm-hmm. Not the mother-in-law didn't help. I think this is something that, I'm going to be mad for a while, but then we do have to figure out a way to get past this because we're still family, and we have to figure out how to get away past this. But I totally get being mad for that and for a while. It's just because I keep thinking about our comments about people like, you guys like give families a pass.
I don't think what the mother-in-law did was right.
Yeah, I don't think it was right, but I don't think it's like a forever breakable.
Well, she didn't say that. She said I will be mad for a very long time, but maybe that would include eventually a way to reconciliation. But I don't think what the mother-in-law did was right.
No, that's weird.
I think it was malicious because she says, what does it matter? What does it matter? Your mom got to be in the room for 2 babies.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. It's like, it's very much giving that. Do you think
it's malicious or is that just being defensive?
I think
it was intentional.
You think it was malicious?
Because the mom, the OP's mom still made it.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that's the biggest, like once I heard that she still made it, I was like, okay, then it's like
she would have had time to go back.
Yeah, she would have had time to go back and bring them, but like they had to make it there on their own account. But like at the same time, she literally could have just went there the first place. Because if you know what I mean, like if she was,
well, because that was the first thing I clocked. That's why I laughed in the beginning when she was like, oh, they all live in the same house. I'm like, she's not even driving to multiple places. She's going
she is. Mother-in-law.
I thought all of them were together.
So mom, grandma, and the kids live with OP and her family, but mother-in-law lives somewhere else, I believe. So the distance between mother-in-law's house and where mom is 15 minutes.
Yeah, the mother-in-law's going to one spot to pick up everybody. It's not like they're like, you have to go here and you have to go here. So it's like time. I'm like, literally just go to one place and then go to the hospital. You're being petty if you can't do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe you're right. It is malicious.
Because she wanted to have her soul time with I think that's the thing that's interesting is when it's the mom of the son, of the husband, it's different because it's like, I appreciate everything you do, but like I need my mom. And maybe she's the mom of only son, so she's never gonna maybe get that opportunity where the daughter, as she's giving birth, is like, hey, can you be there for me?
Yeah.
Because she already has a mom to do that or somebody else. And maybe she wanted that moment for herself, but that is so selfish that you would make that decision yourself to be like, no, you're not gonna come, nor is grandma, nor is the kids.
Right. Why do I need it to be alone? What is that about?
She wanted the attention. I think she wanted the OP to rely on her.
There's no way that my daughter-in-law is going to be like, thank you. I just needed an older woman in my room. Anyone would do. You're like, no.
I want my mom.
Maybe in defense of the mother-in-law, maybe she didn't realize the importance of having the mom, of like what actually transpired in the previous 2. Like maybe
I think she was there for at least she was there.
That's the only thing I could defend. Like, you don't know the extent of how important her mom is in this situation, that you're like, yeah, what's the big deal? But she would know. So yeah, I can't. Yeah, she's kind of.
I think she was so selfish to where she was only thinking about herself. She didn't care about what OP felt, what mom felt. She was just like, I'm just going to go and say that it was too late. Even though, again, by the time she would have been picking them up, it would only been like 8 o'clock or 8:30. So it wouldn't have been late by the time they got there. And they were planning on all being there no matter what, months ahead of time. Asshole move to change the plan like that without communicating. Bigger asshole move to refuse to deal with it or go back to the original plan. Huge asshole move to refuse to leave the hospital room, forcing herself into your vulnerable moment.
Oh my God.
Bitch tripled down. And then somebody else said, excellent to point out all of these 3 points and the escalation of the assholery, not the asshole, and stick with your instincts. She shouldn't have felt so privileged to be included this time rather than being hurtful and excluding your mother. And then somebody else said escalation instead of escalation.
Very good. How long have we been doing this podcast?
2 hours and 12 minutes.
No,
Not
I'm
the
talking
longest.
about in general. Like, it's been
over a year.
This is the first time we've heard escalation. That is gold.
In the book of escalations.
In the book of escalations, 1 in 5. Be an asshole.
I think this was also a move out of hurt, because at what reason would you be like, well,
or jealousy?
She had 2 births. I can do this one.
My turn. You get 2. I get 1.
Like,
and you better have another kid so we can make it equal 2 and 2.
Equal. Make it equal. Or like, you could at least ask like, hey, can I be in the room too? Or something like that.
And
like,
she was already going to be in the room. I don't know. I think she literally just wanted that moment to maybe be up where the other mom is.
That's what I'm like. That's the weird part. Why did
she was already in the room.
Yeah.
And I think she was in the room for at least one of the past births. So she had that privilege to be there in the moment. I can see how the husband's mom can want to be there for the whole family as they're having the baby, just like the wife's mom can be.
Right.
Yeah, called the audible, made it her own decision.
Yeah. Because I'm like, y'all had a plan. We had a plan. It's going to do this. This person going to watch this person. This person carries this person. Grandma gets carried down the stairs. Like, they had a plan.
Yeah.
And then you just completely... That would infuriate me. I'm like, I had a plan
for months, 6
and then
months.
Just because it's talked about
maybe not 6 months, but months.
8:30. It's not midnight. It ain't 2:00 in the morning.
And I have this theory that sometimes simple questions can make the biggest mistake or the biggest scenario out of nowhere. Her excuse was, "Oh, it's late," but the simple question would have been, "Hey, the birth is happening now.
Right.
Are you guys still willing to go?"
Yeah.
Simple question. But
she didn't want to.
Because she didn't take the liberty to do that simple question, it made this scenario that much bigger.
Because she doesn't have their number.
And if you think about it too,
she's bad. It
wasn't even her responsibility to tell them, because she said, when I found out I was going into labor, I told mother-in-law and I told mom she needs to be ready.
Get ready because she's
mother-in-law's
coming.
So mom is like, is she late?
No, she sees mother-in-law out there.
She's like...
She slows down, flips her off, and then drives off. I came here to show you I could have picked you up.
She like drifts away. Does donuts.
No, it's on the way to the hospital.
Yeah, it is on the way. She's like, and she speeds. I'm just like, dude, go.
If you see me and you see me, then you know we have to go. Fast and furious. Go fast and furious. Thank you everybody for joining us for the Comfort Level podcast. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.